Okay, so here we are, another Sunday. This will be my last live stream at noon starting next month. I will be doing my live streaming at 2 o'clock uh, Pacific Standard Time for the sake of some scheduling conflicts that have come up. So I just want everybody to be aware that the live streams are not going to be over. They're just moving to a new time for the sake of my new schedule. So I'll move my chair out of the way. There, now I feel like I can move around a little bit. Today's topic is winter hair care. What do you need to know to give your hair the best chance to maintain suppleness? I'm going to use the word health, but I don't like it because I still don't think hair can be healthy. To maintain strength, to maintain moisture throughout the winter. The first thing that is important is, how are you on the inside? Like, how is your nutrition? Are you getting adequate amounts of the right kind of vitamins that will help promote hair growth and hair health? Taking a multivitamin, making sure you have the right amount of the right kind of cholesterol can be very helpful. Making sure you have the right amount of the right kinds of fats is also helpful in maintaining the suppleness of not only your hair but your skin and your nails as well. It's important to make things good on the inside so they can be good on the outside. Now, once your hair has grown out from your scalp, there's no longer any flow of nutrients between your hair shaft and the root into the follicle. Just one second, grab my visual aid here, my business card. Basically, once your hair, see here the bulb, this is where hair grows from. Once it's past this, and especially once it is out past the skin, what ends up happening is all of this is just dead, mostly keratin, but then you have cholesterols, you have various vitamins inside, you have various chemicals, I suppose, that are, sorry, my nose ring was a little crooked, I'm trying to fix it, that are trapped in the hair. But this is the only part of your hair that can be healthy, and it needs to be nourished. It needs to have the right amount of what I like the word vital amines, which most everybody knows as vitamins. Vital amines that help create and build the hair. So once it is built, then it can grow up and out and adorn your head like the crown it is. So being healthy, getting proper nutrition, taking supplements. A lot of people can get really good supplements using prenatals. Using prenatal vitamins is a good way to get the B vitamin, the B complex vitamins, to get some cholesterol, to get folic acid, to get all of these building blocks of your hair. And when you can take a hair, skin, and nails formula multivitamin, which can also help support not only having nice hair, but you'll have soft, supple skin, moisturized skin, and nice nails. Since your fingernails are made from the same keratin as your hair, generally if your hair is good, your nails are good, and vice versa. If your nails are good, your hair is probably good or growing well enough. Once we get into winter time, there are a few things that become very very important to make sure that your hair stays in as strong and moisturized category as possible. The biggest problem is that the air outside, especially in the northern hemisphere, as it gets colder, it changes humidity levels and it changes the ionic values of the air. And so what will end up happening is that you're going to have the moisture from your hair being pulled like a magnet out from the air outside and indoors as well. It really does start drying things out. You'll notice drier skin, drier, your hair, nails might start peeling, and part of that is just because of what the air is like. The biggest challenge in winter is to have hair that stays moisturized, stays supple, stays strong, and that's what today we're going to talk about as far as some external products you can use to encourage the best state of being for your hair. Howdy, you can see my grow out. Woo, baby. Anyway, so I've got a whole table full of products that are going to help in the process of maintaining your hair throughout the winter. So the first thing is, what are you using for shampoo and conditioner? And I highly recommend using the Total Results Moisture Me Rich, because it's what it's there for, is to add moisture back into the hair so that you can maintain a proper level of hydration in the hair so that you don't feel dry and frizzy and fly away. So when you would wash and condition, you can use a moisturizing shampoo, specifically Moisture Me Rich, because that's what it's made for, but there are a number of other shampoos and conditioners that also have moisturizing properties, especially in the color care categories, because color does tend to dry hair out. So those shampoos and conditioners are also suitable. If you're using them, it's perfectly fine. I just I feel that the Moisture Me Rich is the best way to go if you're trying to really focus on reintroducing moisture into the hair. So that's the first thing. And then got, if you are also looking to rehydrate, and you're not going to be using heat on your hair, you're going to wash, condition when you get out of the shower, wrap the hair in a turban and let it, you can use t-shirt material if that's, it is less rough on the hair, but also a towel with very low pile terry cloth is also a good option, or a microfiber towel, and wear it in a turban for 15-20 minutes so it can pull most of the moisture, extra water out of the hair. And then you can use a product like the Miracle Creator. All of these are going to be Matrix products because that's what I use. But the Miracle Creator, there's also, it's a 10. I'm certain that many other product lines have conditioning leave-in sprays. And the nice thing about this is that it helps, once more, it helps improve the moisture content of the hair, the hydration. It helps to weigh down a little bit of the fuzzies that are more likely to happen in the wintertime. It's going to help seal the cuticle. It's going to increase the suppleness of the hair, and it smells wonderful. And this, if you are not looking to style the hair, a really nice way to avoid heat during the winter is to braid the hair, or put it back in a loose kind of a bun, or loose ponytail, something like that, and just having the Miracle Creator in as protectant and environmental protectant, and as a strengthening agent as well. And that's a really good way to heal that. And then once your hair is nearly dry, if you are looking for control, if you're looking for moisture that doesn't just coat your hair, in this case, this is the Matrix Oil Wonders Amazonian Muru Muru, which is really hard to say. Muru Muru. And I'll see. I know it's backwards, and I apologize, but maybe you can see if it'll focus on that. See if I can get it to focus. Focus. Come on. You want to. Come on. Well, it doesn't want to focus. I'm trying. But anyways, the Amazonian Murmur oil is meant for control. So it is meant to help calm the flyaways, the frizz, the fuzz. It is also contributes to moisture in the hair. And all you have to do is add a couple pumps to the just in your hand, and emulsify it and add it to your hair. And when it's in the damp to nearly dry stage, and you can have it will help restore moisture balance in the hair and restore the suppleness and encourage the control of the flyaways. So that's a good choice. There are other options. I prefer the Oil Wonders because they are micro oils, so they don't just coat the outside of the hair, but actually penetrate in to help encourage more of that moisture inside the hair. From there, if we are ready to brush the hair, you want to have a brush with natural boar bristles in it. This one is a combination boar bristles and nylon bristles. But what a boar bristle brush is going to do for you is distribute your natural oils through your hair. They used to say brush 100 strokes. Not vitally necessary that you brush that much, but if you have a large paddle brush, or even like this round brush in a natural boar bristle, and you brush through thoroughly 5, 6, 10 times per section, it's going to help also redistribute the natural oils from your hair. And those are the best conditioners of hair that we have. And a lot of times with wintertime is that it doesn't really distribute. Also, it can be that you might be overwashing. A lot of people want to wash their hair daily, and that takes also the moisture from your hair, from your scalp. And by using a natural bristle brush and getting it down to the scalp, like I'm only putting it here because I'm not going to pull it through my braid, but getting it all the way to the scalp and then pulling through is going to give you the better results. And if you're worried about like that it's going to cause flyaways, you can spray your brush a little bit with a tiny bit of hairspray or conditioning spray like the Miracle Creator to help reduce static in the brush. So that's a really good option for helping maintain your mane. It doesn't have to be exactly this, but just a boar bristle, natural bristle brush. This one has the nylon bristles, so it can stimulate the scalp. But that's a really good way to encourage your hair to stay supple. And if you were to want to style without adding heat, because heat will also pull moisture out of the hair, is something like the Twisted Boho in the Style Link line. This is an air dry curl cream. So it can help you, say you've washed your hair, you sat with a turban for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you've now put in your spray, you put in your oil, you're ready to get a little more out of your hair than just it's flat and boring. Is the Twisted Boho is a really nice option because it's meant to be air dried. So if you want to sit for a minute, it can also be used, say, night before, where you can you basically set your hair. If you're setting on rollers, if you're setting pin curls, put it in braids and use a little of this, and then when you take it out, then you have waves or crimps or curls, so you don't have to add the heat styling to rob your hair of more moisture. Now, if you are someone who is you're not going to style, but you also don't want to necessarily have to feel like your hair is really gross because you haven't washed it, for the sake of not wanting to pull moisture out, there's always, 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 always dry shampoo. This one's the Miracle Extender. It's really, really nice for hiding, you know, what might look like greasy roots. Very few people really have super greasy roots, but we've been trained societally to, for some people, wash your hair every single day. It's not great for, it's a Miracle Extender. I know it's backwards, I apologize. It's much more beneficial for your hair and your scalp, especially during the winter, to not wash as much, because between the water and then the soaps or cleansing agents, it can really, really dry out your scalp. It can dry out your hair. So giving yourself an extra day or two with a dry shampoo. It doesn't have to be the Miracle Extender. I just really, really like the Miracle Extender because it doesn't get chalky, I guess is the best way to describe it. Like, it doesn't feel like talc. And Chandler, if you watch this back and there's any ones that I didn't actually say the name of the product, please message me so that I can make sure that I might even do a post. I might take a picture and just do a post of all of the things that I did. That actually might be a good idea. I might just do a post after this that just points out all of the different products, and then you can watch back and see what I'm suggesting you use them for. So get a couple days out of it. Now, if you're somebody who really, really needs to style their hair daily, can't go, doesn't want to go with wet hair, then we have a couple things. So the smooth setter, which is just fantastic, is it's a good way to help combat frizz. So it's once more in the Matrix Styling line. The Smooth Setter is just a cream to help smooth the hair, add some shine, add a little moisture, and it has a mild protectant, but it definitely can help combat some of the fuzz that happens in the winter time with the air being different. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention is if you are somebody that just has to blow dry your hair, for whether you don't like the idea of going out with wet hair or that you don't feel put together until your hair is styled, then the best thing to do is to use something like the Oil Wonders Flash Blow Dry Oil. Now this is an aerosol, and you spray it in to your hair when it is mildly damp, like you're getting ready to start using the blow dryer. You use this one, it's the same micro oils as the actual oil that I was showing a little earlier. So it gets into the hair shaft. The second part is that it pushes, just with how the chemistry works, it pushes the water out of the hair, and instead has, deposits the oil in and makes blow drying faster. And because it's faster, it's going to eliminate some of the drying out of the hair that happens with blow drying. Same idea, there's an ionic balance that in the wintertime gets really, really warped, and it will, so heat from a blow dryer, just going outside, many things start pulling moisture from the hair, and this is a good way to speed up the process if you have to use a blow dryer, and help restore some moisture, restore some of the it feels like the natural oils in the hair, and it doesn't feel like it's a greasy situation. It's just a nice way to help you get through if you are somebody who isn't going to extend your washing cycles and feels the need to blow dry so their hair feels, looks, acts normal. This can also help to protect against that kind of moisture pulling that happens in the outdoors during the winter, so that you get a little less of the flyaways, a little less of the frizz, a little less of that just dry feeling. So that way your hair doesn't end up feeling like straw, or that it's, I don't want to say burnt in the way of like, you shouldn't have your blow dryer up that high anyways. And then, but it can feel like it's had too much heat if you're not adding some kind of protectant, some kind of product to speed up the process. I want to grab one more thing because I just thought of it before I forget. 1 second. And that thing is, if you then want to go from blow drying to styling, if you are a person that really likes to have their hair styled daily, feels they need it for whatever reason, is to have a heat print. This one's going to be impossible to read, so I'm just going to say what it is. It's the Thermal Active Setting Spray, and it is a heat styling treatment. So what you do is it's sprayed on while the hair is still lightly damp, then it's dried in, and then you can use your heat styling tools, curling irons, flat irons, things like that. And what does it say? One second, I apologize. Thermal active heat styling treatment. And you can also use it on dry hair, like a quick spritz in a section before you start curling it. And it has heat protectants and will help your hair not feel as much of that drying out, or as much of that dehumidifying factors that a flat iron or curling iron can make the hair feel when you use it, especially in the wintertime when we're already fighting losing moisture out of the hair. Because with any heat styling, you're kind of like pressure cooking your hair in a certain way, like steam escapes. I've seen some pretty gnarly pictures of high heat where the moisture inside the hair shaft has, with the application of a heated tool at too high a temperature, or a blow dryer that is extremely hot and not circulated well, it literally like an explosion. I don't know how else to say it. Like it's like it ruptures the hair shaft. So that's partly can be to blame for your hair feeling even more dry, because now it's not just coming out through the cuticular layer, but the cuticular layer has been blown open in areas. So then there's nothing to seal it. And that's where using as many protectants and remoisturizing agents as possible that fit your routine. There's also a product, I don't think I have, well, I have it's in a box here. Which is a hilarious title, but this Brass Off Blonde Threesome Mask is a perfect option as a leave-in cream this time of year, for the sake of that it helps redistribute moisture into the hair. And since it is made for blonde hair, that's another issue that can compound in the wintertime, is that you're already compromised, you're already dried out, and now here comes the air that is pulling even more moisture out. So the Blonde Threesome, it's moisturizing. It has a heat protectant in it, so if you do want to utilize hot tools, if you want to utilize a blow dryer, the heat protectant, I believe in that, is up to 450 degrees. And it has some strengthening agents, so it's can be almost treated like a leave-in treatment, like a conditioning agent. And that's a nice option as well, depending on your personal needs for this winter. And I hope I've covered everything. I will gladly lay out all of the products that I mentioned and post that. If there are any more questions, ways to mitigate moisture loss during this season that I didn't cover, please let me know and ask questions if you didn't catch something I said or it didn't make sense the way I phrased it, and I will gladly address that, modify what I said, post something that just clarifies. And I think that's about everything. Another thing, before I forget, because it just popped in my head. When you are utilizing hot tools, if it has, let's see if I can show it. It's kind of hard because it's a tiny little dial. But if there is temperature variance, turn it down. You don't need to have the heat all the way up. And especially in the wintertime, I would try to keep your temperature between 300 and 320 degrees and no more. If you have to go over an area a couple times, it's just better for the hair than to have it so hot that you're literally burning your hair off at that point. And that's kind of a tip for any time of the year, is turn the temperature down. Your hair is not that indestructible. And I think that's about everything that I've thought of as far as winter hair care advice, winter hair care tips. If there is anything else, please let me know that I can address. I am going to be starting next week doing my live streams at 2 o'clock and not at noon. And there's going to be, I'm starting a series of vintage styling from a specific publication that is 10 Hollywood hairstyles from the 1950s. So I'm doing a series of one hairstyle a week, and if it can be modified into something a little more modern, I'm going to focus on that, or I will show how to read and interpret the set pattern, what hairstyles work best with what types of hair, and make that at least, it will be at least a 10-week series. It may go a little longer depending on if I do a wet set followed the next week by the comb out. If I end up doing it all as heat sets with curling irons, yeah, like half hour ago. We'll do the set as I see is the most appropriate to teach. And I will also be providing a link to the PDF that I am working from. I will also be printing out the set pattern so that I can show what I'm doing. It will be more likely on my doll heads. It'll be each doll head that has the quote-unquote right haircut for the style as I come to it, and that's going to be at least the next 10 weeks, so we're probably going to go all the way into the Christmas season. So yeah, starting next week, live streams at 2 o'clock with a series of Hollywood hairstyles that can be interpreted into modern ideas, or even using them as wet sets or inspiration. So with all of that said and done, once more, if you do have questions, if you do have concerns, or you do have something that I didn't seem to cover, let me know. And I will see everybody next week at 2.